And
Sure.
I'm interested in finding out how you're incorporating this whole garden.
Okay. Great. Well, when the opportunity uh, came up a few years ago to work in the garden here, uh, I thought it would be an extraordinary opportunity to explore a an immersive site-specific project that had everything to do with the Huntington, that had everything to do with the Chinese garden, and yet had nothing to do with it, so that it could be a work of its own. But being in the garden is such an amazing experience, and to write a play specifically for the garden, you must include the whole library, botanical gardens, gallery, which is the Huntington. And so Mr. Huntington becomes a figure in the play. Blue Boy becomes a very important image in the play. And that may seem a little incongruous because we're in the Chinese garden, but therefore we also have Kunqu, some of the most accomplished opera artists from China performing, and a story based on the inspiration from the Peony Pavilion, which is one of the greatest Chinese plays, or it is an opera. It was written as an opera for music in the 16th century. So, as you see, eclectic, which the Huntington is, and which our other wonderful producer, the Cal Arts Center for New Performance, is also. I think one thing just at this time in my career, which is seemingly later because it's been going on for over 30 years, and all in the Chinese language, all in Chinese. I really feel it's time to do more work in English and to serve as a bridge, because I am bilingual, bicultural, in a I would consider in a deep way. So
And when you say bicultural, we're going to be specific. You're,
it would
you're
be
Taiwanese, right?
Taiwanese linking into the greater Chinese culture. So that also is that both of those elements are very rich, to be Taiwanese and to link into the greater Chinese culture, and then to be part of the American culture too. I was born in America. So I think in this world today, there's just too many misunderstandings between people.
Close in 10 minutes.
So I think it's important to become a bridge, to become a bridge for East and West to get to know each other perhaps more intimately.
So will this play be in both Chinese and
There will
in
be a
English?
little Chinese only, which is during the Chinese opera performance that will be sung in Chinese.
Okay,
The rest is all in English.
okay. And I understand that you tend to work with your actors in making the piece, and you're doing that here as well?
To an extent, I'm doing that here. We had a workshop 2 years ago at the Cal Arts Center for New Performance, and they also wanted to learn from these methods that I've been using for many years to working with actors to create pieces. So it's hard to explain because my method has evolved over the years, and now it's maybe interesting to say that I work with actors. They, like for instance, last night we were rehearsing a scene, and then new material was coming to me, and I was just giving it to them as they were performing. So I guess you could call that working with actors, but it's not like in the old days when I would be working heavily with them bringing in a lot of the material. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of in a nutshell. It's hard to explain, but let me continue
Okay.
to explain. Nightwalk in the Chinese garden is extremely tailor-made for this site, which means that if you're an audience, you come in, and there are only 40 audience each night. And the first scene is in the tea house with 40 people, the whole group watching. And then the audience will break into two groups, and we call it East and West, and go around the lake, which is behind me. So you would have, either you would see scenes clockwise or counterclockwise. You would see 3 scenes each, and then you would meet at the large pavilion on the north side there for the 5th scene, which includes a performance of Chinese opera. Then you would continue onto your direction and see the other scenes, which would actually be in inverse order to the way other people saw it. So the two groups will have a different experience each night. So it's kind of in a way it's written, designed to be different, but what is the difference? It's like either direction. There's no. I didn't write it so that one direction was, better or more important than the other. I think. And on the east side, we're dealing with themes from the Peony Pavilion, a story from the Peony Pavilion about Asian, about Chinese characters. And on the west side, we're dealing with a story from the 1920s about California, about an artist in California who has been commissioned by Mr. Huntington to paint a certain painting. So on the west side, these beautiful pagodas will become the scenery for California in the 1920s, whereas on this side they seem to be the natural home for what is actually a writer composing a play, which is the Peony Pavilion. So it's complicated. There's lots of levels to the work, including explorations of the creative act itself, of what it means to collect art or to be an artist, and what it means to be Chinese, and what it means to be a Chinese in America. Lots of things. I guess those are things more for the critics to talk about. It's just that they're just beautiful.
So when you say what it means to be a Chinese in America, are you exploring what it means to be a Chinese in America, both in the 1920s and now, or just in the 1920s, or just now?
We have a character from the 1920s, a Chinese in 1920s, and through her character and the Quintry actors who are performing in the 1920s, we have a little picture of what it's like to be Chinese in America in the 1920s. There weren't too many of us at the time. And of course it will reflect on what it means to be Chinese in America today.
Okay.
Yeah. And as you know, much of the garden was built by the generosity of the Chinese in America today. Really beautifully built to all the specifications of. I've been in many gardens in China, some of the most beautiful in Suzhou. I think this one is really special. It doesn't have the age of the other ones because it just doesn't. It's not
That's
that
new.
old. But I think the workmanship, the craftsmanship, and just the whole layout and design is extraordinary because it is a rare garden that has more pavilions, pagodas, open space. Whereas in China, you would see the gardens that would be more cluttered with buildings, residential buildings, old houses.
And do you think the life of Chinese in America is changing, particularly this year with things like Crazy Rich Asians?
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I've been too busy. I've been monitoring it. Many people talk about it, and I think it's a game changer for sure. Definitely. I think as an Asian in America, we are often very quiet, meaning we can be loud when we want to, but it's not in the whole character to to bring attention onto oneself. Let's just put it that way. I think that's a common trait in many Asian countries, and that is something that is very un-American in a way. So I don't know. I need to choose my words carefully here. So
That's okay. And
Yeah.
you haven't seen the movie yet.
I haven't, no,
But
no.
you can just feel that something's different, I think.
yeah, because like I can feel immediately like one of our cast, Jessica Van, she's an up and coming film, TV actor, and I can immediately feel the vibes are changing, meaning that suddenly the profile for Asian actors is going up. I hope it keeps that way. It's just been it's they've been waiting so long for an opportunity like this. Again, I haven't seen the film, so I don't know how I'll react to it. But I think that, and then Nightwalk in the Chinese Garden, all the things that are happening now are
Oops, sorry.
it's okay, are combining to create definitely a deeper awareness of what the Asian experience is now and before.
Okay. And do you think that will excite interest in your play?
I think well, the fact that we're sold out. I'm in deep trouble because I can't get tickets for all of my friends. So
You have to extend the run.
yeah, I mean if I don't know, this is all up to the Huntington, of course. If it would be desirable to have something like this on a regular basis, something we'll have to see when we actually get up and are performing, if that would be desirable or not. And if it is, I think it would be very interesting to have something like this in Southern California or anywhere in the world. A play that is written for an exceptional site, and a play that speaks to the audience that it is written for. I guess we'll see if that happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I heard a rumor that you're going to be using the water as well.
We're gonna have a boat on the water.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been a long time, and we're very respectful of the garden. We're very
Okay.
respectful of the Huntington, how they wish us to use the garden, what we can do, what we can't do. And I'm very happy that over the 2 years we've been working with them, that I think they trust us enough they understand our respect for this garden, that we're not a film crew coming in and leaving tomorrow with all our trash and everything. No, this not at all. We really hope to make a contribution to the garden.
Okay. So there's going to be a boat coming in at one point then.
Yes.
Okay. But you're not going to tell me more. Can you tell me more about how Blue Boy's involved?
Sure. Blue Boy. One of the scenes is about Blue Boy. It's a little complicated, but let me try to explain it. A Chinese worker is cleaning Blue Boy. Okay. A domestic worker in the 20s, and she starts dreaming of her lover in China, okay, and who also wore blue. So there's a scene where it's going to spoil it for you.
Well, I don't want you to give us any spoilers.
Then no spoiler.
No
So
spoilers.
So she's thinking of her lover
Okay.
through Blue Boy.
Okay.
And then at the same time, this is the moment when the curator of the Huntington brings in Pinky
Okay.
to become the mate for Blue Boy. And they have fun talking about arranged marriages. which are the Chinese tradition and the Chinese specialty. And Mr. Huntington has a couple of lines about that.
Okay.
But they had been searching, the way I've written it, that they had been searching for a suitable mate for Blue Boy in terms of artistically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
That's it.
sense.
Yeah.